The Square Ball Podcast.
Hello and welcome to another Square Ball Podcast. Dan here with Chris and with Rob. A show you'll find in your podcast app. You will also find it on YouTube as well if you want to see our faces. Show is brought to you by Levi's Solicitors, who have signed up for another season. We thank them for their support. 10 years now. A testimonial season. 10 years of support. 10 years. It's a long time, isn't it? It's a long time. 7 years since Bielsa's first game.
Don't say that. That is terrifying, quite frankly.
The passage of time. Will's probate conveyancing, all the usual stuff. The full range of services. You can get a 10% discount on your legal fees if you head to levisolicitors.co.uk/the square ball. So just the back end of pre-season then. We played Villarreal at the weekend. So I guess the show here is going to be mostly about that, reflections on that. Chris, I know you made it. Rob, you didn't. Should we tell Rob what it was like, Chris?
It was boring for 45 minutes.
That is the 45 minutes I've seen in full, and then I've caught up on a bit of the second half.
It's one of those ones where, like, it's the only chance that a lot of kids, there's loads of kids at it, that the only chance that they'll get to see Leeds, because it's so hard to get tickets, and you do sort of wonder, are we selling it to them? Do we need bright lights and fireworks and stuff to keep people entertained? Positives from that first half, at least, I thought Anton Stack looked quite good.
Yep.
He's very tall. He took a free kick and nearly scored from quite a wide angle. And Gabriel Goodmanson is quite possibly still running.
Yes. He covered a lot of ground, didn't he?
Yeah, quite frantic, but I suppose you would be. I quite liked how him and Nanto linked up in the left.
Is Stack left-footed or right-footed? Because he seems to use both quite well.
Well, he hit that free kick with his right.
Right, okay.
But
my instinct is to say right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sean Longstaff, a little bit sideways, I thought, throughout that game. I don't think he made a forward pass at any point.
I think, judging by Farke's comments in the post-match, the first half seemed to be a little bit more about structure, because I don't know what you thought, but I thought it felt like almost like the gloves came off a little bit in the second half, and I don't know if that was just the nature of the game when it opened up, when they scored, but we basically had the promotion team and a couple of additional extras out there in the second half when we equalised. And prior to that, it was a little bit more of the new boys in the first half, and it was a bit more midfieldy.
Yeah,
I thought that first half, whereas second half was a little bit more freeform when it got going.
Yeah, I'm going to move out of punching range of Rob when I say this, but Brenton Aronson played quite well.
Yeah. I saw his assist-ish. Yeah. Well, sort of an assist.
Yeah, he's still a little bit like a greyhound chasing the football. But, I think he is maybe a winger. He's a little bit Jack Harrison-y.
Yeah, I don't actually mind him too much on the wing. In his first half season at Leeds, when we were in the Premier League, some of his better games were actually him playing on the wing rather than as a number 10, just scampering around. It's what wingers are there for nowadays, isn't it? Run up and down, and he's very, very good at that.
Yeah,
I did. His assist was a slight miscontrol and a cross that hit a defender.
I'm like you, Chris. I thought that was one of the positives of the weekend. Yeah. Out of quite a few, actually. I thought, that first half looked to be more about structure, and that's perhaps what we're going to see in these games where we're trying to keep it tight. I think second half, it felt a lot more expansive in the second half. That we were committing men forward and pressing a little bit more aggressively, which is kind of funny because Pirro was on up front. But did you notice that Pirro was doing less of the pressing, but Tanaka was running around ahead of him? And Pirro was kind of almost dropping back behind that.
Yeah, I wonder if they're still trying to work out Tanaka's role, because I remember at times last year, whenever it was Tanaka and Gruev, Tanaka was almost in front of the back four. And then these games seems to be playing a little bit further forward. Also, Gruev, I think Gruev's looked like Leeds' best midfielder in pre-season.
Yeah, he's been really efficient and tidy, hasn't he?
Yeah.
You can see why Farke likes him. Yeah,
I do wonder about him defensively, but I suppose a lot of that is working out the sort of combinations on either wing. And especially in the left wing where they've not played together, and then our improvised right side of the right winger and right back were a little bit, I'm not so sure about them playing together.
Yeah,
not that they ever will.
What I saw seems to be a lot of Farke shouting at Isaac Schmidt for giving the ball away or not being in position. But he's not played for a very long time. I suspect he's not going to play for Leeds for much longer, as long as we sign a replacement. But the midfield thing is interesting, and I wonder if part of the opening up in the second half is because of Tanaka as well, because he's probably still the most natural passer we've got in the team. But it's been interesting watching some of the friendlies like in Germany, and they do still seem to be working out that balance in midfield, because you have seen games where it's like, the game started against Paderborn and I was like, Tanaka, no, he's definitely the number 10. And then you watch it a bit longer. It's like, oh no, wait, Stack's further forward than him at the minute. And it is a bit lopsided. Or
Stack struck me as very box to box. Like he was covering a lot of ground. He was doing everything from edge of our box right up to the edge of theirs, which was really encouraging. He just seems to be an all-action midfielder, which I suppose is what they're after, and Longstaff as well. I know what you mean about him being a bit crabby, a bit David Batty. But then again, he did ping that one through ball through that showed real vision, I think, and it's going to be breaking the lines, isn't it? I suppose that's the key this coming season.
Yeah, I don't know what our starting midfield is going into the first game of the season. I think it'll be Ampadu +2.
Yeah.
But who that 2 is, I'm imagining one will be Stack.
Yeah.
And then there's a space left for one of 3 midfielders.
Well, I wonder if part of Longstaff's appeal is, his Premier League experience. He knows the intensity, the pace of the games. I wonder if he is kind of penciled in for that reason. But I would like to see Tanaka there because he's brilliant.
I've got a feeling Tanaka's going to start from the bench. I think it'll be a lot more. We'll see a lot more of what we saw at the weekend, which will be making sure you don't give up a goal, territory, stability, and then maybe try and win it later on, which is, I think, is kind of the sort of the genesis of Farke's 70-minute substitutions that we saw a lot of last season, is to make sure you are in a position to win it in that final 20 minutes of the game. I suspect we might end up in a few fairly close attritional battles this coming season, with maybe the odd goal settling it here and there. And if it's us, then great.
Well, it also depends on what attacking options we've got, because as Farke alluded to after the game, with Dan James missing, with Jack Harrison missing, and Pat Bamford and Joseph obviously not part of his plans.
Bogle as well.
Bogle missing as well, who is a real threat from right back. But, Farke was saying basically afterwards that we don't currently have the attacking strength to go out and try and dominate games and outscore opponents. He says we're not ready for the Premier League yet. We're ready for game week 1, that's a relief. But yeah, I think maybe that does play into his thinking as well, of try to keep it tight. Hopefully Joel Pirot can nick a goal in the second half at some point, which he obviously did against Villarreal. Yeah,
I think that's a good point. On strikers, though, I did quite enjoy Lucas Mecha again. I thought he did a lot of the very basic hold-up play, and he got him behind a couple of times as well.
I suppose the fear is lack of end products, as we saw that one time he went through, he didn't really deliver a decent shot, but it's only one chance.
Yeah, I wonder if his role will be last 20 minutes of games where Leeds are winning, that just tie things up, keep things together, or if, say, he is the centre forward, you've got Joel Pirot behind him to do the Joel Pirot-y things, and then Mecha can do the hard yards.
It's almost the new Pat Bamford role, I suppose.
Yeah.
Just coming and doing that really attritional work.
He does look like a younger Pat Bamford when you see him play, so it does kind of make sense. I mean, it's interesting though that they're so obviously crying out for a striker. Like Farke is now at that point in the transfer window, which now we've had him for 2 seasons. I'm starting to come to enjoy, to recognise like he gets to these points at certain points of the year where he does become a bit more forthright and reminds everyone in the room, and probably makes a bit of a message to the fans as well, of just being like, look, I know I can see what you guys can see.
It's quite interesting if you start to, pull on this thread and just break down the timing and what he said. And obviously he's paid to answer questions. He's the guy who has to front everything out. He's also the guy who's going to pay for this with his job if it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, there's nothing for him to lose by going balls on the line. I need reinforcements. I think they probably knew that anyway, in the conversations that they've had, the recruitment cabal, whether that's Robbie Evans and Adam Underwood, and Farke's part of that. They're all decided on players together. The conversations they've had won't have changed, but it kind of spins the dynamic a little bit because he went public with it, and it's just applied that little bit more pressure. Even though behind the scenes, nothing will have changed from before that kickoff to after that kickoff, except Farke's comments.
Yeah, well, I think he's got a bit of a migraine in terms of having to talk about number 10s, strikers, wingers all the time, because as you say, it's only him answering the questions, and he comes from German football where the presidents, CEO, whatever, they tend to speak in the media. It's the same in a lot of European countries, but in England, it's the manager and the manager only, so he has to face that all the time. If I was in his boots right now, I would be quietly giving him a little bit of a boot up the hole to say, can you give me a striker? All this talk of a striker or a number 10 or a winger, whatever it is they actually want to sign to unlock the front end of the pitch.
Well, his slightly wavering patience as well is justified, because he's been here for however many transfer windows, and they have all essentially been quite precarious at times. Like, his first summer was a mess, and that was all quite late. The second summer was very, very similar. So last January where he was very vocal about wanting a striker or a number 10. And was the defensive cover in there as well? I can't remember. But we saw that none of them arrived, and ultimately it didn't cost us, but it did get a bit hairy at one point as well. And again, Farke was quite pointed once promotion was secured, saying, although we didn't spend any money in January and there were players we wanted. So maybe, again, I think a bit of tension could be healthy, if it even is tension, or whether it's Farke, like I say, just almost saying to the fans, like, yeah, we know, we want to do something.
No, it's a good point. I hadn't really thought about it in the context of the previous windows, because there has always been something very much on the line. But I suppose there is in every transfer window.
Well, I've just seen a tweet, and I have no idea if it's true, but I've read it on the internet, so I'm going to take it that it's true. But it was saying that 65% of all transfers and loans get done in like the last week or two of the window. And it is that thing that everyone in football tricks themselves into thinking every time a window comes around. It's like, yeah, let's do our business early and be really well prepared. And the reality is, for whatever reason, football clubs are just stupid enough to let everything wait until the last 2 weeks of the window. And that's when stuff actually happens, I guess.
Yeah, things start to move. I suppose like doing your essays right before the deadline, isn't it? And all that kind of thing. But yeah, it seems like Muniz is the one that they want up front. And maybe there's an opinion there that he's worth waiting for, however long that takes. I saw a couple of interesting tweets actually from a Fulham point of view over the weekend, saying that they're probably all right for PSR at the minute, but with the new squad control regulations coming in next season, where you are allowed to spend, I think it's 85% of your turnover on squad costs, they're right up against it.
Yeah.
And I think it was Kieran Maguire, who was Price of Football, tweeted to say that they are on the 85% threshold right now. And when you factor in amortization, which is the cost of players, when you write them off over time, they're actually spending £1.17 for every pound they bring in. So they're overspending at the minute, based on the squad control ratios, which is where you would hope with our bigger commercial revenues and things like that we might be able to level the playing field a little bit if we can survive this season. All that is to say that it might mean that Fulham might be a little bit more amenable to selling than perhaps we thought, first of all. So I guess we'll see.
Are they not charging like £1,000 a ticket or something stupid for their fancy new stand?
The swimming pool stand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a swimming pool stand. Sorry, I've not seen any of this.
Yeah, there is. So is
that just the Thames?
So well, did you not see the thing? Just a little bit of a sideline here, but there is it's a community facility. So there are flats, apartments in this new stand overlooking the River Thames, obviously very desirable, southwest London and all that. But I think they're like community and event spaces sort of built into the back of the stand, and there's a walkway down the side of the Thames. And they've put a rooftop pool in, I think. So there's like two towers, one at each side. And one of them's got a pool at the top, so you can be in a rooftop pool overlooking the Thames. But I was going to say there was something doing the rounds on socials of them saying, and these facilities in the community spaces will be available these days, but not when the local football club is playing. It's like, you are the local football club and it's about 20 yards that way. Same people. Just not saying we are Fulham, and when we are at home, you won't be able to use it. We're saying when the local football team, not even naming them.
Maybe they're going to sell the stadium if they can't get rid of Muniz.
Right.
It's good square footage, I would say, around there.
Yeah.
Get a few quid for it.
Take it down.
Yeah. Although, have you seen that Muniz has been linked to Atalanta this morning?
Yes, I did see that.
Just choosing to ignore that, are we?
Yeah, I'm going to fully ostrich that.
They've got a lot of money to spend. Mm-hmm. They sold Retegi to Saudi Arabia for 65 million euros. And Ademola Lookman is possibly leaving for like 40, 45.
Yeah.
And they want a striker. And it might be him.
We've got loads of strikers they can have. Matteo Joseph, you can have him on loan by all accounts. Joffy Gellart, if you can get there ahead of Hull.
Did you see the coverage that Joseph was milling around looking a little bit sheepish at the ground on Saturday?
Oh, did he turn up?
Yeah,
that's good of him.
Mooching around. Yeah, and there were photographs of Jack Harrison arriving just before kick-off as well, in his posh car. So, yeah. But, yeah, Joseph milling around like a naughty schoolboy. It's not gone well for him there, has it?
No. But, yeah, he can go to Atalanta. Why not?
Yeah, exactly. I'll give him to Fulham if they want a striker before they let us have Muniz. But, yeah, Joseph, it was Barron Cross reporting last week, wasn't it, that Leeds don't want a loan with an obligation to buy because they think he could go to La Liga and score 15 goals.
Yeah.
And ultimately regret such a deal, which, again, I was saying last week, I just find that quite unlikely for a guy who scored 3 championship goals last season. But, maybe they know something we don't, just like they thought the value of centre-backs was going to rise when they gave Diego Llorente a new contract.
You made this point recently as well, Chris, like football's not linear either, just because he didn't fire for Leeds, he might go into a different league, a different style of football, a team that plays to his strengths. Maybe this doesn't suit him quite. quite well, and he goes there and it just catches fire for him.
Yeah, I sometimes look at the Joseph case is quite interesting because you sometimes look at a player who maybe isn't firing for, like a striker who isn't firing for a team that aren't creating that many chances, but then you put him in a team who are top of the league and creating loads of chances. Theoretically, he should be scoring more goals. Joseph was in the best team in the championship last year who created the most chances, and he didn't really score that many goals. So I'm kind of with Rob in the sense that I'm not sure why they rate him so highly now. I think this time last year, or even maybe like November, December last year, you could argue like that's why maybe they didn't want to sell him in January. But since the end of January, what really has he done?
I was going to say, I remember going back 12 months when we had pre-season in Germany before, and arranging with Angus Kinnear for him to come on the show, and we sort of arranged for him to come on after the window was shut. He said, let's do it after the window shut. But in arranging, it was like, he just mentioned in passing, Mateo Joseph is absolutely on fire this pre-season. So it's just funny how, I don't know, maybe if he scores that chance against Burnley.
I was going to say that Burnley miss felt like it killed him, didn't it?
Yeah, early in the season. If he gets that, and talking about catching fire, maybe that's the catalyst for the whole season, and it just didn't unfold for whatever reason.
But then that Burnley miss also probably sums up why I am quite doubtful about him, because Jesus Christ, that was a bad miss. Like, to not even hit the target. It was, if Pat Bamford had done that, he'd have been crucified.
And it feels like those players who are going to make it at the top level just have that sort of killer instinct baked into them. And because the way he was performing in pre-season, I thought, this looks, it does look likely, because he was scoring a lot of goals, wasn't it? And then he just, he's like a shadow of the player I imagined.
Yeah, it goes to show how much confidence is important in players.
Pressure,
and pressure. And he's still young. Like, in hindsight, it was kind of stupid to rely on a 20-year-old at the start of last season with almost no senior football experience.
Yeah.
To have him as your first choice striker was a bit mad, I suppose, but to believe in him as the backup, it is a lot. It is a lot.
I was going to say, just returning to the signing attackers thing, thought just popped into my head that this whole thing would have been framed differently had they got Paixão done, because that would have been proper marquee signing, get everybody excited. I know he wouldn't have played at the weekend, but it would have then left us in a position where you feel like, what they're actually now trying to get is the cherry on the icing on the cake. Yeah. Whereas actually it feels like there's still quite a lot to do.
Yeah, but as you were saying about the 65% of transfers get done in the last week of the window, it does always feel like it's going to be a bit of a domino effect for the window to be unlocked. Everyone seems to just be waiting around for something to happen.
Well, it's a closed system, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you think about it. So it might be that one player has to go, which unlocks funds for Team A, who can then buy another from Team B, who then have plans to sign somebody from Team C and all that.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same with Muniz. Like, if Muniz does go to Atalanta, then, if he doesn't go, they're talking about signing potentially Nikola Krstovic from Lecce, who Leeds were bizarrely linked to. But he's also been linked with Roma, and if he goes to Roma, then Dovbyk, who's also been linked to Leeds, goes. And like, I'm not saying that means Dovbyk goes to Leeds, but it means that he sort of kicked further out the door.
Things start moving.
Yeah, and then it all ends with, I don't know, us selling a striker on deadline day.
I suppose the injuries at the weekend, just to return to that, again, just heightened the anxiety among the fans, where everyone's come out of it going, well, actually, when you start to cut through the first choice players, when you get to the layers underneath, it's looking a little bit threadbare, because I don't think any of us expected Bogle to be missing, and doubts about how long that'll be, and and Perry as well, your new shiny goalkeeper. It would have been nice to see the new goalkeeper playing, and then no sign of him.
Well, who was that in goal then? That handsome young man in the first half, Carl Darlow. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
Alex Ken still can't get a go, can he?
It was nice as well. I've almost started to feel sorry for Illan Meslier in all this, because what's clear is, I don't think they probably expected him to come back this pre-season. I think they expected him just to have a new home by now, and for whatever reason that hasn't happened. I don't know. That's the case of them waiting for the new keeper to come in and be match fit before they entertain offers for him, or maybe they can't get one sorted. Who knows? We'll find out. But when they announced the subs at the start of the second half, and coming on for so-and-so, coming on for so-and-so, it got to Meslier, and I thought, nobody boo, nobody boo. But nobody did with a championship trophy lift either.
No. People have been quite nice with him since he stopped playing, which is all everyone wanted. But I think it probably speaks to another problem of this window as well, is that we've not been able to shift the players we've wanted to shift. Like, Sounds like Joe Gallett's finally on his way to Hull, but I think that'll be a loan deal.
It's another season-long loan.
Because they can't sign players, can they?
No.
Permanently, because they're under an embargo.
Yeah, I think they've got players on free transfers. Probably they're signing Ollie McBurney as well, which is a weird one. But then, I think it was in Barron's story last week that they still want low £1 million fees for Sam Greenwood and Darko Jaby. You think, who's actually going to pay that, though? I don't know.
I see Darko Jaby's been linked with Cardiff as well.
So he'd be going to the League One now.
They're not going to spend money on that.
No.
And it shows you where he's rated, perhaps. And again, it's that thing that I kind of touched upon with Joseph, that you have all these grand designs that you're going to send a player out on loan. They're going to be brilliant. They're going to earn you millions. Or you're going to send them out on loan and they're going to be just as underwhelming as they've been at your own club. And you're kind of stuck with them.
It looks like, though, with those players, and I suppose you've got to fold Greenwood into that trio as well. It's just minimising PSR losses for a year. Contracts are up, and then next summer you're unburdened of that. But yeah, the sums make it difficult, I suppose, if you've been given a Premier League contract by Victor Orta.
We can only dream.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, good luck to Joffy. I mean, I wish him absolutely no ill will. Like, it's funny, like people seeing Bamford and almost been very negative about Bamford having 1 year left on his bumper contract. Joffy's in exactly the same spot, basically, but it feels like there's more sympathy towards Joffy.
I think he's got 2 years left, hasn't he?
Joffy has.
So again, not ideal. I mean, I don't hold their contracts against them. They didn't award their own contracts, and at the time they were given them, they both looked like they deserved it. So fair enough. And I think there are things with Joffy that have just not gone to plan. Like in my old job, I used to have loads of interviews with young footballers who sort of tasted it, like the Premier League level or whatever, and they always had like one of 3 reasons of why they didn't succeed, which was usually like a change of manager, badly timed injury, or a loan move that didn't work out. And it feels like Joffy's like ticked all 3 boxes with that. But then also I think Leeds have some of those managers, or some of the development of Joffy has been pretty poor, actually. And we've always looked to the new shiny thing and never actually given him many opportunities. And maybe you never would have taken them and it wouldn't have worked out. But if you think that, like, he was as responsible for keeping us up that season as any other player, like some of his involvements at the death of certain games. But then it was like, right, well, we're going to persist with Rodrigo and Bamford. We're going to sign Wilf Nanto. We're going to sign Jorginho Rutter. We're going to sign Matteo Joseph. Obviously, none of these people are still here.
Very few. I suppose ultimately, though, if that challenge is there, if the challenge of new players coming in is there, you then step up, and if you're good enough, you'll cut through.
Well, exactly. But then,
like Alan Smith did.
But then some of those players were given more opportunities. Then, like the season we went down, Joffy Gellart in his 6 months at Leeds had more goals and assists in the Premier League, which I think it was 1, than Jorginho Rutter, who we spent God knows how much on, and gave him those opportunities. And you think, well, that was a silly idea, actually, really, looking back.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm not saying Joffy, if we'd have given him those opportunities, would be the striker we all dreamed he could have been at one point. But I don't think it's all been his fault necessarily.
Not necessarily, but on the flip side of it, I'm just looking at his data now, because you're right, he does have 2 years left, not 1, like I thought. I thought all the contracts ended next summer, but obviously not 2. He's 23. I think we worked out that him and Rutter are only a month or 2 apart, didn't we? And look at the trajectories they've gone on in terms of, Rutter's in the Premier League now, and he's just not made the step up. And like I say, it's unfortunate, but maybe this is just his level. I don't know. The Championship.
But then when you see him as a little urchin coming on and dribbling around the Wolves' defence, or doing that mad flick over Lewis Dunk's head, or scoring the winner against Norwich, there was obviously something there.
Yeah.
And maybe that was it. And, maybe that was us getting everything out of the ball or whatever. But I don't know. I just think it's a real shame what's happened with Joffy, because he did look magic when he came through.
Actually, it goes back to what you were saying, Chris, was it last week? In football, there are a lot more bad circumstances than bad players.
Yeah. And as you were saying about managers, like Jesse Marsh watched him do all that at the end of 21-22.
Saved him his job, and then was like,
and then just, but then again, this is the same guy who traded Dan James for the idea of Cody Gakpo. So, hardly a genius.
The concept was brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm investing in a dream. It's all a bit magic beans, isn't it?
Sorry, Dan. Go live in London. I know you've just had a kid.
Yeah.
For a man who spends fuck all on anything,
some things are worth paying for.
Are they?
Yes.
Okay.
Listen, I only think I just don't want to pay for.
It's an investment in cinema, isn't it?
Exactly. I'm a big investor in the arts.
The arts, yeah.
20 quid. Big investor in the arts. What's your next big arts project then?
Oh, that's been it for now. For the last few years.
Yeah. You don't want to overspend, do you?
No. other arts investments. Come back to me.
Right.
I've got a lot of things on the back burner. I don't want to announce anything
Embargoed.
as yet. Some pretty big stuff.
Well, we're doing the origin story of Uwe Rosler. We know about that.
That's true. Still got his book at home.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, didn't read it. But we'd sacked him by the time I would have.
So he had a book out before he came to us?
Yeah, it was like
Were they selling it in the club shop?
I don't know. I think I bought it off eBay or something. But I was like, because he's got a backstory. He was brought up in East Germany and stuff. So I thought, went to Man City, one of the first like overseas players in the Premier League and stuff. He had a decent, interesting backstory. We just got him as manager. I thought, I'll buy this. I'll read this at some point. And then we sacked him about 3 weeks later. So I was like, I'm just not asked anymore.
Do you remember the T-shirt that he made famous?
Yes, my granddad bombed Old Trafford or something.
It was Uwe's granddad bombed Old Trafford, and he was pictured in that T-shirt given to him by a Man City fan. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It's only a bit of fun.
It's good that we can joke about the war, isn't it?
Wait, hold on. Was this like an official press thing, or was it just somebody being snide and took a picture of him?
No, it was very, very willingly.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to try and...
I mean, you'll call me a woke snowflake, but come on.
He's giving it... It's a great picture. He's in Main Road, and he's giving it the shrug, as in a, hey, what can you do?
So yeah, just to wrap up the Villarreal stuff, I thought it was dead funny when they scored, and there was almost a sense of disbelief in the stadium because there was not a single flicker of reaction. Like you normally used to hear it, even if it's just a tiny away following, just a little muted cheer, but there was kind of nothing. There's almost like it's gone in.
Yeah, I went to watch, I've talked about it in here before, I went to watch Genoa play Ascoli, and Genoa got promoted to Serie A, and they just took all the away tickets, fans off them, and sold them to home fans.
Right.
So there was no away fans, and whenever they scored, there were people who didn't know that they'd scored because they were like too busy talking to each other.
Yeah.
And people were being like, they've scored, like pointing, because there was no cheering or anything. And then you couldn't even hear the players because obviously there was just like that general hubbub. Yeah. But yeah, it's quite funny that both the goals were basically the same as well, just really scrappy. And
Meslier made a pretty good save. I thought it was interesting, just again talking about how Meslier's story arc has gone. That there were people kind of blaming him for that. It was like actually made a really good close range save to keep that out, and it just happened to drop at the feet of the striker.
Yeah, it was. Well, you could if you're going to blame
the head. Sorry,
if you're going to blame anyone, you probably blame Isaac Schmidt for getting beaten down that right hand side.
Let's blame him. He's not going to be here much longer. Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah, he looked a little bit out of sorts, didn't he? Yeah, just to return to that theme. And actually, one of the things I did take away from it, I thought, this is pre-season. This is the time when you're supposed to be most optimistic about the season that's coming up. So I don't want to concentrate on the negatives, but I feel justified in mentioning it because Farke mentioned it in his post-match comments. Chipped balls over the top. We looked a little bit vulnerable to that. Although one of which happened right at the start of the second half when Jakob Bijol had just come on, and I enjoyed watching the centre forward just bounce off his back. He looks like an absolute stone cold killer, that man. I see what you mean, Chris, when you say like he's just completely uncompromising. I imagine him almost sitting in the corner of the dressing room or in the team meetings, just absolutely stony faced, completely humorless. Yeah, just wants to kill.
He does, like, not to lean into stereotypes, but he does have a hint of the Ivan Dragos about him. Yeah, he's even got the Dolph Lundgren chin. Yeah, he's a big boy. Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing him smash a few Premier League strikers this season.
So yeah, it was the chipped balls over the top. I thought, could we perhaps not playing such a high line? Get back a little bit, lads. But also we looked quite vulnerable to crossfield balls because the fullbacks were pushing high and wide, and it seemed like, and maybe this is why Gurev looked good to the eye as well, because it seems to be the method is going to be, for the most part, he's having two holding midfielders in there. And maybe one of them's got the license to go forward at some point. But essentially what happens in Farke's system is the fullbacks push high and then one of the central midfielders goes out to cover that fullback position. And Gurev's quite good at just filling that space out by the left, I think, when Goodmanton's off on his adventures.
I think one of the issues as well was Isaac Schmidt's positioning. So there was one point in the second half where we were in the east lower. We're quite close to the pitch. And the Villarreal left winger was just like stood on the touchline by himself. I was going, well, where's Isaac Schmidt? And looked up, and he's basically like, he's got his hand on Joe Rodon's back, like he's stood 30 yards away, and this guy's just standing open free. So,
but was that by design or by accident? I don't know, because it seemed like we were defending quite narrow, so we could cover both sides of the pitch. And I suppose it's fine if the wingers get it, if you get there in time and cover them. But we did still look vulnerable, and sometimes we were exposed 1-on-1 in those positions. I don't know. But I just happened to notice it and thought, yeah, if we get teams that are going to go for those big, accurate switches, which tends not to happen. There were a few times in the Championship when we nearly got caught by it, but because you're playing at Championship level, those passes often don't make it to the winger, or the players don't have the vision to try it. So you get away with it more often than not. Whereas Premier League is going to be different gravy, and you saw it a little bit because Villarreal are a Champions League level team.
Yeah, that is worth pointing out. And like a couple of players there that not quite household names, but if you watch football, like you know who they are. And even they brought Danny Parejo off the bench, who was quite a classy midfielder. I know he's getting old now, but just even every time he touched the ball, he just looked like he could make things happen. So I think all in all, it's a pretty good.
I like it when you come on the show, Chris, because you had knowledge. I have no idea. I have no idea genuinely who half these people are.
I think I probably played too much FIFA as a kid.
No, it's good. It's good. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah, no, like they've decent players, and that the winger who came on, Pino, I think he's like I think he was sort of like a up and coming star. He might have been in the Spain squad,
right,
for the Euros, but I might just be confusing him with someone else.
Did Pedraza get a good reception?
He did, but I did hear someone behind me say, "Who's that?" and it broke my heart a little bit.
Just show him the Birmingham goal.
Yeah, from a different lifetime, From a different lifetime. But yeah, it was interesting seeing the team against that next level of opposition. I thought that was, you can see why they booked this one in as a test.
Yeah.
As Mikel Arteta likes. Did you see that, by the way? Arteta, it was reported on Twitter. I don't know whether this is true or not. It's very LinkedIn. Doesn't like to call them friendlies. He likes to call them tests.
It's just...
That is a European thing, though.
Yeah.
I do know in Italy, not to go back to it, they refer to friendlies as tests, but that might just be like a use of an English word rather than the Italian word, which is quite long.
I'm glad I didn't start slagging him off then as I was taking a breath about it.
It's still
absolute cultural misunderstanding.
Launch into a diatribe.
But that's a potential defence. He is still a twat. So there is that.
I mean, that's fair enough, isn't it? But yeah, you can see why it was important to play against that better opposition. And I suppose we'll see it a little bit at the weekend with Milan in Dublin. Depends what sort of a team they play out, I think, as well, because they're playing Chelsea in a friendly at Stamford Bridge the day after.
Yeah, but Villarreal played 2 matches on Thursday, right, and then played Leeds on Saturday. So I would imagine...
And we still couldn't beat them.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Yeah. I feel like they'll probably bring a full squad, but maybe switch it up after 45 minutes.
Did you see Milan's... I don't know if it's their last friendly, but it was certainly last week, their result.
In Australia?
In Australia. Did you see this, Dan?
No.
They won 9-0 against Perth Glory. Can you guess which former Leeds centre-back was playing for Perth Glory?
Surely not Paddy Kisnarbo.
No. He's a manager now.
I was going to say, does he manage them, or am I getting...
He managed Melbourne Victory, I think.
Right, all right.
Melbourne City. He's part of that group, isn't he?
Okay. Which former Leeds United centre-back?
Similar era. I don't think they played together. This guy was just after Kisnarbo.
Oh, God.
If I told you he got like a rating out of 10 of about 3 on FOTMob, I think.
Is it going to be Pennington or something like that?
No, again,
one of your favourites?
Similarly terrible. Scott Wotton
really
was there trying to hold things together. I did actually watch the highlights, and God bless him, he was trying his best. But it was.
In fairness, Danny Hay did play against Barcelona and AC Milan. I'm fairly sure in the Champions League year, so it can be done.
It can be done, but it
wasn't.
But at least we don't have Scott Wotton in our defence on Saturday, so hopefully it'll be less than 9.
Yeah, great. Well, a great chance for anybody who's travelling over, or particularly, obviously, for Eddie Irish Whites to have a good time on home turf and see Leeds in action. And I mean, I associate the pre-season friendlies against Shelbourne normally in their ground, which is pretty small. This is Aviva, different level, 50,000 people. It's going to be good.
Yeah, I used to see like Liverpool or sometimes Man United would play there at Aviva or Lansdowne. And
I did see Leeds play Liverpool at Lansdowne Road. I think it was that Champions League era. I can't quite remember. All I know is on the flight over, Mark Wright, former Liverpool defender, was sat on the row in front of us on the plane.
Okay.
Yeah. But there was a sort of pre-season tournament. I'm going to say Lazio featured. It might have even been going into the Champions League season because we played Lazio in the second group stage of the Champions League that season. And I think it might have been, was it St. Pat's might have played as well?
There was one much earlier Did it involve Lazio and Stuttgart or something like that?
Maybe. Anyway, sorry. Yes, Aviva.
Yeah, so it'll be good. It'll be a good day out. You know, I'm assuming it's going to be mostly Leeds fans. So Dublin will be painted white. Speaking of Leeds and friendlies, if you pick up a copy of the match programme, there's a little piece in the Square Ball from the Square Ball from me talking about Leeds playing Dublin City in 2001.
Mm-hmm.
But by the match programme that day, and then on the first day of the season, by the Square Ball issue 1 instead.
Yeah, it'll be loads better.
Or as well.
Yeah, so I take it, are you not going to that then, Rob? No?
I'm not, no.
Still on puppy duties?
Still on puppy duties, still painting ceilings and more exciting.
Puppy duties is not a euphemism, by the way.
I've just got a dog. No, I did. Yeah, there was a plan to head out there, and I did have a hotel room, but it's not transpired.
Yeah, same sort of thing for me. Well, Michael's back, isn't he, on Friday night? So as we discussed on the show before, probably quite a difficult turnaround landing quite late on Friday night back from his. If he makes it back in one piece, that is from the Albanian Alps. To then get on a flight straight to Dublin in the morning. Quite difficult sell with the family, that one, I feel like. And it's the same reason I'm not going. I'm away on holiday this time next week, next Tuesday, which is going to be good. So, again, probably got to be packing over the weekend rather than...
getting drunk with Chris.
Getting drunk in Dublin. But yeah, have a good time with it, man.
I'll do my best.
Like brave soldier that you are. No, it should be good, isn't it? And yeah, say to be surrounded by all the Irish Leeds fans who can make it there. I don't think we've ever seen anything of that scale before in Ireland.
No, if you ever go to either Belfast or Dublin airport on a Saturday morning when Leeds are playing, it is frightening the amount of people coming over. Like the planes are full. Like especially in the championship days, it was just crazy that you would have that many people going. Mm-hmm. But I think it's a good reward for. I quite enjoyed how they played the games in Sweden and Norway for the Scandinavian fans. Just putting on 50,000, and it's sold out as well, as far as I can tell.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna have the most Leeds fans in one place.
I've got a bit of FOMO about it, so I've kind of had to just not think about it too much.
Yeah, well, if they end up losing 2-0, you'll maybe not as much.
Marching on together before the game, I think it's going to be very, very impressive.
Yeah.
Well, this is one of the reasons why I was really, really keen to go to the Villarreal game, because I'm missing the Everton game as well. So my first home game is going to be in Newcastle, so it's still quite a way off just yet. So I really wanted to get back in Ellen Road. And that's one thing I would say. It's one of the few times I'll be able to go back into Ellen Road. And I know, like I was saying, you're going into pre-season, it's the time when you're most optimistic. But to go back in there and just be reminded that my last memory from being in there was all really nice. And Ellen Road is a place where we can have a nice time.
Yeah.
I sort of felt warm and fuzzy going back in there. And I've spoken about it before, when you see the grass for the first time and how green it looked. It looked so green in the sunshine on Saturday. It just tugs on the heartstrings.
What did you think of the Premier League anthem?
It should have been booed louder.
Yeah, it should.
Yeah, and but I'm sure that will come.
Yeah,
but it was nice that they got the running order sorted, so we can have a full marching on together before kickoff.
I quite like having marched on together before kickoff. Yeah. I don't like the reason that we have to have it before then.
Did they actually play the Premier League anthem?
Yeah, it was a test run. Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
It did coincide with the teams coming out and doing the handshake stuff, so it looks like from a ballet perspective, it's all been coordinated.
Yeah, it's such a bad song as well.
Yeah, my dad said to me, "What's the bloody hell's this?" So you were here 2 years ago, Dave.
It's nice to have something to boo before the game gets underway.
Yeah, I do hope before the Everton game that it gets booed. I always like it when the Champions League anthem gets booed.
Yeah,
just even though it's a nice anthem, it's funny.
Yeah, why funny?
Just get things really toxic before kickoff. That's what you want.
Just before we wrap this one up, just a quick heads up that we are heading off to the United States to the LU Americas National Meetup in New Orleans. It's the Fulham away game, so Saturday the 13th of September. Going to be doing a show from there, which should be fun. If you want to get tickets for that, you can get them at luamericas.com. There's a big banner there that will take you through to it, so it would be nice to see you there. Very much looking forward to that, although the flights are pretty harsh in terms of the turnaround. It's a long way to go.
You should say that it's not all of, as in I'm not going, in case any of my family are listening to this and being like, you didn't tell me you're going to America.
Surprise. It was offered round to everybody. There's only a couple of us going so far, but we'll try and persuade you between. I mean, Rob's on dog duty, so he's got an excuse.
Again, ceilings to paint. Just my life is so much fun right now.
Yeah, but do have a look. luamericas.com. I know tickets have gone very quickly since the launch, but if you could come and join us in New Orleans, in the World War II Museum, which is rated, I think it's like the number 2 attraction in the whole of the United States. That's how important this is.
New Orleans does look very cool.
It does look great. Looking forward to that. So yeah, luamericas.com for that. Thesquareball.net for everything else. And what we got on the blog this this week coming up. We're going to have reflections next week on what happened in Dublin. Going to talk about that on the show next week. I won't be here. Dean will be looking after that for me. But yeah, you'll have to let us know what it was like so we can have words written and spoken.
It would be nice if there were some signings that we could talk about.
Well,
something to write about.
Who knows?
All right, Farke, steady on. Bloody hell, so needy. Right, we'll wrap it up there. We'll see you in a bit.
The Square Ball Podcast.